Welcome back to Just Giants with Grump and the Cranky Fan, the best damn podcast for the best damn football team. I'm your host, the Football Grump. I am without the Cranky Fan today. Thanks for tuning in. He is flying back from Hawaii and getting ready for his whole weekend adventure so he can meet with me Sunday morning for the 1 o'clock game versus the Eagles, which is what I'm here to preview today alone. But that's okay. So that just means it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one. It is currently Black Friday at about 1:30 in the morning when I'm doing this recording. So this is post-Thanksgiving meal and post-Thanksgiving coma, I guess. So hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving and are, I guess, not suckered into doing anything you don't feel like doing on Black Friday. In any case, this is going to be an interesting matchup. The Giants and Eagles are both rebuilding franchises. The Eagles are kind of, on a bit of a hot streak. The Giants are, coming off an embarrassing loss, but relatively speaking, in terms of the season, have been winning more lately than they have in the past. Go figure with that. And everything is always hot and cold with the Giants, right? Every win is, there's still a chance at the playoffs, and every loss is, time to tear it all down and burn down the stadium, right? So we are currently at that stage right now, and it's tough because they're coming off a short week with the Monday night game as well, but with Jason Garrett being fired and Freddie Kitchens coming in to call plays, which I think has been confirmed by guys like Adam Schefter and Kim Jones, but I don't know, what their source is for that, because I don't think Joe Judge has come out and said that yet. In fact, I think he's avoided the question altogether and stated that he wanted to keep it a secret for competitive advantage purposes anyway. So, I couldn't imagine anybody else being the ones calling the plays anyway, so kind of a moot point. But it's going to be interesting, right? Because, now as I preview this game, I have so many more ideas about how we can do things, and yet less of a clue of how it's actually going to go, because what do I know anymore? What do I know to expect? So whatever. But let's start with some key stuff here first, and it's going to be mostly injuries, right? So we've covered that Freddie Kitchens is going to be calling the plays, but who he has available to him is going to limit him now. For starters, it does not look like he will have the services of Sterling Shepard again, even though it looked like he was coming along last week. It just didn't look like he had enough time. It's, it still hasn't practiced at all. Kyle Rudolph still not practicing. Caden Smith not practicing. That's concerning as well. Now our tight end room is looking thinner and thinner. Colin Gillespie is still not practicing. Kadarius Toney not practicing either, but I don't know that necessarily rules him out. I think at this point he's going to be kind of managed in practice for the rest of the season. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, no official designations for anything. The other big one is Logan Ryan still not out of the COVID protocol. So I believe as of this recording, there is still some kind of window for him to be able to pass the protocol and play on Sunday. But he hasn't practiced in 2 weeks. I have to, at this point, assume that he is not going to play, and that's going to be another big loss. Guys that were limited: Saquon Barkley, Lorenzo Carter, Adoree Jackson, John Ross. I expect all of them to play. The big concern here has to be that both Kyle Rudolph and Caden Smith are not going to be available, or it doesn't look like they're going to be available. The Giants moved Nate Ebner to IR finally, and in his place they've elevated Chris Miarek, whatever. He's been with the team since preseason, so he's been here for a little bit. But they promoted him from practice squad. That's concerning. That sucks, right? I don't even. What can you do? It's just kind of been the story of this year. If it's not the offensive line, it's the wide receivers. It's not the wide receivers, it's the tight ends. And in preseason, it was the DBs. So, whatever. That being said, the Eagles are relatively healthy on their side of the ball, but they are limited with some key guys. Josh Sweat is dealing with a knee thing. If he can't go, or if he's limited, that's going to be an increased role for Ryan Kerrigan, I have to assume. I don't know. Brandon Graham is on IR. Teron Jackson's kind of the only other guy that's really going down the depth chart a little bit. Darius Slay, the number one corner, limited with the concussion. It's looking like he's going to play, but, concussions are iffy. It's going to be interesting to see if he does go or not. And then the big one here is that Jordan Howard hasn't practiced. He's dealing with a knee injury. The Eagles do have a decent stable of running backs, though, with Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, Miles Sanders. So, Jordan Howard was playing a lot in Miles Sanders' absence. But Miles Sanders is back, so I guess it's the perfect time for Jordan Howard to get injured, I guess. Nevertheless, that leaves us with the situation where the Giants are in a much worse health situation than their opponent, which I assume is going to be every game this year. So, yeah, competitive disadvantage. The main thing when it comes to playing the Eagles that I was able to notice in doing research for this game is that, right now the Eagles have won 3 of their last 4. They've been very competitive as of late. They started out the season a lot more shoddy, and they seem to have figured out some things. It's a new coaching staff, new to coaching, I guess. These guys are new coaches, and they are new to the team. And it seems like they're kind of feeling out what they've got dealt in front of them. And it seems that they've really tried to put a lot less on Jalen Hurts throwing the ball, in my opinion, downfield. Hey. So what they have been emphasizing has been the zone read, on a lot of it. They are really, really, really leaning on running the ball. So with that, and with the zone read in general, the best defense here has to be disciplined. The very basics of football. And I say that like that makes it easier. It doesn't. It just makes it less complicated. It makes it simpler to understand. But, these are still the best of the best out there. These guys have the best juke moves in the world. These guys are the best at shedding tackles in the world. They're the best at faking things in the world. So when I say it's the basics, it just means that it's not overly complicated. It's straight up discipline. The zone read, it's discipline. Are you cheating inside or not? Most often, the guy being read is the end guy, and if he is scraping too hard towards the line, towards the running back, the quarterback will keep it and run outside of him. It's and what sucks is the Giants haven't been particularly great against the run. Worse so in the beginning of the year. They've kind of tightened it up as years gone on, but they're not very good at rushing the passer. So they like to cheat. The ends do a lot of the work, and they are not going to be able to do that in this game. Now, in the last 4 games, when I say that they've adjusted to this, in the last 4 games, Hurts has thrown for less than 200 yards in each game. That is, the games that they've won 3 of the last 4. I think the one loss was to the Chargers was only by like 3 points or something like that. It was very, very, very close. They've run for no less than 55 yards with Jalen Hurts. Most ever rushing attempts were last week against the Saints with 18 rushing attempts. They are definitely leaning more and more on this than relying on him just chucking the ball downfield. Previous weeks, early on in the season, he was throwing for 300 yards, but they were losing games. So I think they're just kind of easing him into the NFL game here, and they're working with what he does well now, and working on what he does less well as they go. They're going to have to find a way to stop the run without overcommitting on the edges. Hurts is very, very talented at operating the zone read. And what I mean by that is being patient with it, holding the ball in the belly of the running back till the last possible second, things like that. He's very good at faking it. Not a whole lot of fumbles either, or mishandled stuff there, which is very easy. It's going to come down to being stout in the middle. That's going to be crucial. If the edges are doing their job, they're not going to be able to crash inward to help very often. So that means we're going to have to see big games from Dexter Lawrence, looking at you. Austin Johnson, Leonard Williams, who has been playing well anyway. Raymond Johnson, if he's going to be playing any time in the middle. Those middle guys are going to have to play their gaps very, very, very tightly. We can't let the zone read runs go for 4 yards every time. It can't happen. This game will be dead if they can't stop the zone read. And then, the other thing with the zone read and what I say with discipline is form tackling. Tackling is going to have to be, sorry, there's a cat over here, cleaned up. The tackling has been terrible. The tackling against Tampa Bay was pathetic, and that can't happen. The zone read, even if you beat your blocks, you have to make the tackle because it's not going to be a gang tackle. That's the whole point. If everybody does their job, it's going to be a one-on-one tackle most of the time. And, guys like Jalen Hurts are good at juking people. Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, these are all players that are very, very skilled at breaking tackles. This can't happen in this game. Form tackling needs to happen. Corners need to play their contain as well. The other thing that kind of goes along with this, less to do with the run game, obviously, is controlling Jalen Hurts in the pocket. His legs allow him to extend plays, so out of control pass rushes are going to be exploited. When those lanes get vacated, he's going to find that, manipulate the pocket to his advantage that way, and no amount of defensive back talent can cover guys for 7-8 seconds. We saw that Monday night. The other thing is that in the instances in which we're in man coverage, he's going to see that, and he's just going to run. I think one solution that can be used here is spying him, and it really sucks that Logan Ryan's not here, but maybe this is another instance where we want to bring in Kean Cross, and because of his speed, give him something real easy, cover the check down route and spy the quarterback, just so he's not only spying the quarterback. So it's not obvious what it is that he's doing pre-snap. I think it's a good idea. Hurts is very talented, and they've gotten more success from him running than him throwing. So for me, I want to stop him from running. I don't want to sell out to do it, but I want to do everything I can to stop him. And the last thing we can do is bait him, because if you've done steps 1 and 2, if you're controlling the zone read, if you're controlling the passing, if you're forcing him to pass, that means you're making him pass when they are not comfortable making him pass. So if you can get frustrated enough, he'll do something stupid. So, he'll be looking downfield more. He's younger and less experienced than Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, the other quarterbacks that we've had to face, even Derek Carr. So this is a chance to confuse him, disguise some coverages, make him think he's got something he doesn't, and make him throw where people aren't open. Bait him. This is a quarterback that can be baited as long as the defense shuts down everything else in front of him. On offense, this is going to be one of the hardest games I've ever had to analyze, because I just, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what Freddie Kitchens thinks of this offense. The main thing to remember is that the playbook is the playbook at this point. There's not going to be a whole lot of new play design, especially in a short week. Not going to be a whole lot of new plays in here. This is going to be... It's just going to be the same plays as called by Freddie Kitchens, So, for me, I'm going to try and attack this secondary. Flood the field with wide receivers. Find every play you can that has 4 wide receivers on the field, 5 wide receivers on the field. Get them on the field and have Daniel Jones pre-snap identify the one-on-one and throw there. Because whoever it is probably a favorable matchup. This secondary is not very good. Darius Slay is the clear-cut, best guy in the secondary. He's the one they spent all the money on. He's, coming back from a concussion that must affect him in some way, I would hope. I would think. Maybe. And Avonte Maddox behind that. Everybody else in the secondary is kind of scrub. They're really not who I would want starting in my secondary. Everybody besides those 2 guys. So I want to attack these guys. I also want to attack linebackers in coverage that are in the hook curl zones with shiftier guys like Saquon Barkley and Evan Ingram. Those guys, those linebackers aren't so good. TJ Edwards in the middle is playing really, really, really well. But those other two guys on the outside in those slot corners, they're not very good. And that might be the check down spot to really, this Jason Garrett offense emphasized so much on the spot route. Just going right over the center of the ball and turning around, and that's your check down. And, that's really the Jason Witten Hall of Fame play. I don't think that's going to work. I don't want to draw TJ Edwards in coverage. I want to draw the other guys. I want to get everything outside. Stay away from the middle. Another thing I want to do is let Kenny Golladay be physical. I mean, really, call the plays that have him as the first or the second read in the progression. We paid the money for him. We trot him out there every week. Might as well use him to the best of his abilities. If he's got a one-on-one, throw to it. If even if it's not necessarily there and you have him on a go route, a couple times a game, should be taking that shot. This isn't a dude. We knew when we signed him what he was. He's not a dude that's going to get behind the defense, go long and burn people's speed. He's not a top 5 route runner that's going to juke the best man cover corner out of his shoes. He's a contested catch guy, and he's big and tall. We got to let him be that way. This is what we bought him for. If we wanted somebody else, you go out and try and get Keenan Allen or Deshaun Jackson if you want those other things. That's not what we wanted, I guess. It wasn't a secret who Kenny Golladay was. The other thing is maybe we should try throwing on first down. And by that, I don't mean throwing a wide receiver tunnel screen or a running back bubble screen. Actually throw. Test them downfield on first down. Pick up chunk yardage. Get yourself 7-8 yards on a pass play on first down. Put yourself in the second and short. And then go deep if you can get second and short. I don't know. I would like to see us throwing on first down a lot more. The other thing I'm going to say is avoid the middle of the defense. I kind of hinted at it before, but the Eagles are really, really tough in the middle with Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, TJ Edwards, like I mentioned. Even Milton as depth behind it in the middle there. They're really, really, really talented there. Any attempt to run there would have to be only on like strong power duo plays where we're just doubling up on guys and moving them. Other than that, I'm not going to really try too much there. We should try running a lot more stretch plays and run pass option rather than zone reads. Because I don't want my quarterback or the running back's not going to be running up the middle to any success. So if the end guy, does his job to keep Daniel Jones in the pocket, then it's going to be a loss. I'm Devontae Booker, Saquon Barkley, doesn't matter. Whoever's running it is running into a wall of Fletcher Clocks. I would think, we've run a lot of the zone read that the RPO might be a really good fake, for them, a good play for us. I don't know. And I also think that on passing plays, in the past couple weeks, we've been overselling help to the edge guys. Andrew Thomas was out, so you had Nate Solder and Matt Parrott doing a lot of stuff. So a lot of our chip help, tight end help, running backs, everybody that can help the ends, the tackles on the ends, was being used. We kind of got to do the opposite this week. I know Josh Sweat and Derek Barnett are no scrubs. Ryan Kerrigan's still very good, but for me, I really hate the idea of Billy Price and Matt Skura and Will Hernandez trying to deal with Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave. Especially Javon Hargrave scares me because he's so quick off the snap. So the help's going to have to come up the middle. Running backs are going to have to be kept in to block on third down in the middle. Tight ends too. I don't know any other way because I don't think those three guys in the middle are strong enough. And then I guess the last thing I'm going to say is to just, in general, be aggressive. This idea that they've been utilizing for the last couple of weeks to shorten the game, to me, is a plan that concedes you can't score points before you even try. It's like saying, well, we're not going to be able to do much, so we'll try our best to script a really good opening drive, and then we'll try and have another really good opening drive at the in the second half. Maybe we can get 2 touchdowns out of that, and the rest of the game, we'll try and keep the field short. We'll try and keep it quick, and we'll try and kick field goals, and hopefully we can win 23-20 and keep this game to 2.5 hours long. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. I understand where this comes from. The offensive line is hurt, and so they're not very good because we've got not very good guys playing. But this is still Daniel Jones that was throwing like a madman earlier this season. This is still Kenny Golladay, who has always been Kenny Golladay. Kadarius Toney, first-round pick. Darius Slayton was operating as a number 1 wide receiver at points last year. Evan Ingram is a first-round pick with, technically a Pro Bowler. Like, these are guys that should be doing a lot more than they are. And I think we're just not utilizing them to their full extent. And the last thing I'm going to say is I really, I know that Freddie Kitchens probably has 0 to do with this, and I'm not really sure who has the most to do with this, but I would really like to see Matt Parrott start at right tackle. I cannot imagine how or why he is worse than Nate Solder at his job, but I mean, Nate Solder's not back next year anyway. So if we're already trying to see what this team operates like without the offensive coordinator we started the year with, maybe it's time we figure out what the tackle situation is going to be like next year. I don't know. But from what I've seen of Matt Parrott, he has not looked worse than Nate Solder. So I would like to see him in action. I actually feel a little okay about this game. I think that the Eagles are somewhat one-dimensional. And I think that the defense has still been playing pretty well, even last week. And I think that making them one-dimensional gives us more of a chance. And I think that Freddie Kitchens will be more aggressive, so that helps. But the short week, the injured guys, is not going to make it easy. I think this one's going to be really close, and I think the Giants are going to win 26-23. I really hope so, because I cannot stand losing to the Eagles, especially if I'm at the stadium. Dallas already lost 36-33 today, Thanksgiving Day, to the Las Vegas Raiders, so not much to analyze there other than that's obviously good for the Giants. Washington is facing Seattle on Sunday night, and I have Seattle winning that one. But it's going to be real close. It could go either way. I have them winning 24-23. I don't know. I just don't really believe in Washington. I don't know. But that's going to do it for this episode of Just Giants. So we will see you guys on Tuesday morning with a review of the upcoming game against the Eagles. I hope to see you all at MetLife Stadium. Go Giants!